Hey everybody, Rex Bear, how the heck are you? I'm doing fantastic here today in San Antonio. Yesterday, I did a podcast on the Eucharist in a discussion about the Last Supper and what it actually represents. And I've heard both sides of the coin from those that are Christian and believe it is a representation of continuing the Christ consciousness. And I've also talked to other people that feel that it is a black magic ritual. So I appreciate everybody that's contributed in the comment section to that podcast, and I'm still seeking answers. I'm so torn when it comes to what we are taught about religion, spirituality, based upon the Christian faith and the Abrahamic canon. I'm searching for the truth, and the more research I do, it seems as if on one side it becomes more apparent, and then on the other, it's just the opposite. It's more confusing, more muddled, etc. So with that said, I am reading the Nag Hammadi scriptures again, and I'm reading the testimony, the Gospel of Philip. It's interesting because if you read through the New Testament scriptures, you're going to read about the testimony of Mark, Luke, John, James, Peter. You don't hear anything about Philip. And this specific tract from the Nag Hammadi treatise has a compilation of texts in it in different paragraphs that aren't really put together in order, but have bits and pieces of good information. So also some very controversial information, and that is probably why the Vatican and many other organizations and religions did their best to eliminate and suppress all of this information. Now, I look at this as very symbolic. You have to look at this symbolically, metaphorically, and hopefully your subconscious will be able to decipher this and usher it forth into the conscious mind. For example, the Secret Book of John. That is so far my favorite book out of the Nag Hammadi treatise because I think it explains symbolically so well the unknown, what we don't see, the archons, the creators, the false archetypes, etc. It's all very symbolic, and it resonates with me at a very deep level. I was actually going to read that first, but just like everything else, it seems like when I'm on a specific subject, particular information presents itself to me, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So let me go through. This is the most recent Nag Hammadi scriptures translations. It's got a compilation of text in here. I need to get Alexander on from Israel because he speaks Hebrew. Maybe he could read these originally from Hebrew and then translate them for me as well. I want to see what he has to say about this. But let's get into it. Here we go. The Gospel of Philip. Now, the first one that I want to talk to you about in here, the first paragraph, is called God is a man-eater. Literally, it says, God is a man-eater. God is a man-eater, and so humans are sacrificed to him. Before humans were sacrificed, animals were sacrificed, because those to whom they were sacrificed were not gods. Well, I don't know what you think about that. Do you think that you're sacrificed to God? Well, essentially, if God created you and you have a particular lifespan and you're supposed to worship God, does that all go hand in hand? What's your thought on that? The Eucharist and Jesus. It's interesting because, like I said, I did a podcast on the Eucharist yesterday. The Eucharist is Jesus. In Syriac, it is called Pharisatha, which means that which is spread out, for Jesus came to crucify the world. For Jesus came to crucify the world. What does that mean? Jesus came to kill the world? Crucify? Crucifying somebody is killing them, right? I mean, maybe I got that wrong there. Please correct me if I do. All right. Whoever leaves the world can no longer be held back, as if still in the world. Such a person clearly is beyond desire, and fear is dominant, and is above envy. If that person is grasped and choked, how can the person escape the great grasping powers? How can that person hide from them? Some way we are faithful. In order that they may escape unclean spirits and demons. For if they had the Holy Spirit, no unclean spirit could grab them. Do not fear the flesh, and do not love it. If you fear the flesh, it will dominate you. If you love the flesh, it will swallow you up and strangle you. Is there really something wrong with loving the flesh? Can't you love other things besides the flesh? Shouldn't you love your flesh as well? Because right now, currently, that you're in your flesh, spiritually and mentally, your flesh is your temple physically, which helps you think and collaborate and come up with ideas. The better you feel, the more you can do oftentimes. I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe I'm looking at that wrong as well. Here we go. Vision of hell. According to the Gospel of Philip, Gnostic texts. In a vision, an apostolic person saw people who were locked up in a house of fire, bound with chains of fire, and thrown into fire on account of false faith. It was said they might have saved their souls, but they did not want to. So they got this place of punishment called the outer darkness. You know, there's a lot of I've noticed in these Nag Hammadi treaties as well, there's a lot of symbolism of hell being of fire and brimstone in certain treaties, and then other ones have a completely different interpretation as well. Even back then, the texts that were put together, people weren't able to collaborate that well, contradicting themselves often. When Eve was in Adam, this is interesting, when Eve was in Adam, there was no death. When she was separated from him, death came. If she enters into him again and he embraces her, death will cease to be. So is that the whole hermaphrodite theory? Krimo Mutwa talks about that and how we were originally one being. And then these entities came from the heavens, from space, and manipulated. I don't know why I'm having such a time talking today. Maybe I need a drink. Here we go. You guys drink kombucha? This stuff is awesome. I love it. Sorry about that. Well, according to Cremo, he has been a part of a secret society that has information passed on generation to generation. The Earthlings were originally one being and separated by sky people. And it seems as if now this whole transhuman movement is pushing back towards the hermaphrodite agenda. Have you noticed that? I mean, look at Miley Cyrus and her promoting of the way she cuts her hair short. She looks like a young Asian boy in her performances oftentimes now. It's just weird. The whole psyop thing in the media, merging man and machine, confusing men and women, no identity, etc. It's just this whole psyop, in my opinion. But let's get back to these texts here. The temple in Jerusalem. There were 3 structures for sacrifice in Jerusalem. One opened to the west and was called the holy place. The second opened to the south and was called the holy of the holy. And third opened to the east and was called the holy of holies, where only the high priest could enter. The holy place is baptism. The holy of the holy is redemption. The holy of holies is the bridal chamber. Baptism entails resurrection and redemption is in the bridal chamber. The bridal chamber is within a realm superior to what we belong to, and you cannot find anything like it. These are the ones who worship in spirit and in truth, for they do not worship in Jerusalem. There are people in Jerusalem who do worship in Jerusalem, and they await the mysteries called the Holy of Holies, the curtain of which was torn. Our bridal chamber is the image of the bridal chamber above. That is why its curtain was from top to bottom, for some people from below had to go up. Once again, this is very symbolic, very metaphorical, and it's very cyclical, I've noticed. It's very cyclical. All right. Adam's soul. Adam's soul came from a breath. The soul's companion is spirit, and the spirit given to him is his mother. His soul was taken from him and replaced with spirit. When he was united with spirit, he uttered words superior to the powers, and the powers envied him. They separated him from his spiritual companion, hidden bridal chamber. Now that's interesting. That specific paragraph, if you read the secret book of John, it talks about how when Yaldabaoth breathed his breath into Adam, he gave the divine spark of Sophia, which was then taken out of Yaldabaoth. So Yaldabaoth got upset and attempted to imprison Adam and get it back with the archons that Yaldabaoth created in his image. Yaldabaoth is also very jealous, and it's, I don't know, folks. I mean, there's so many connections of Yaldabaoth and Yahweh. It makes me wonder if they're one and of the same. Now, with that said, if you were created with that much power, and you thought you were the ultimate God, and then you find out that your creator looks at you almost as the redheaded stepchild because she didn't get permission from the male aspect of creation, that might kind of piss you off. So I can definitely see why, if that is the case, and if my monkey mind is picking this up enough to grasp it and make an opinion of such, then I can certainly see why Yaldabaoth is the way that Yaldabaoth is. It's very interesting. So hopefully everything works out and we all come together again in a light, happy fashion with the opportunity to still be separate and our own entity at the same time, because I feel that both are imperative. I don't want to be succumbed and ushered into one Borg system where I can't be my own entity and my own divine spark. Or my own spark from the divine, I should say. That's just my opinion. The mystery of the virgin birth. It is necessary to utter a mystery. The Father of the All, united with the Virgin who came down, and fire shone on him. On that day, that one revealed the great bridal chamber, and in this way his body came into being. On that day he came forth from the bridal chamber as one born of a bridegroom and a bride. So Jesus established all within it, and it is fitting for each of the disciples to enter into his rest. The births of Adam and Christ. Adam came from two virgins, the Spirit and the virgin earth. Christ was born of a virgin to correct the fall that occurred in the beginning. Let me repeat that. Christ was born of a virgin to correct the fall that occurred in the beginning. What does that mean? Two trees in paradise, Jesus going down into the water, slaves in the free, Jesus going down into the water, resurrection and baptism, Joseph the carpenter. The world eats corpses. This world eats corpses, and everything eaten in this world also dies. Truth eats life, and no one nourished by truth will die. Jesus came from the realm and brought food from there, and he gave life to all who wanted it, that they might not die. Here we go. Eucharist and baptism, the cup of prayer containing wine and water, for it represents the blood for which thanksgiving is offered. It is full of the Holy Spirit, and it belongs to the completely perfect human. When we drink it, we take to ourselves the perfect human. The living water is a body, and we must put on the living human. Thus, when one is about to go down into the water, one strips in order to put on the living human. Know yourself. All those who have everything should know themselves, shouldn't they? If some do not know themselves, they will not enjoy what they have. But those who know themselves will enjoy their possessions. Sex and spirit. Humans have sex with humans. Horses have sex with horses. Hee-ha! Donkeys have sex with donkeys. Members of a species have sex with members of the same species. So also, spirits have intercourse with spirit word. mingles with word, light mingles with light. If you become human, a human will love you. If you become spirit, spirit will unite with you. If you become word, word will have intercourse with you. Hello. If you become light, light will mingle with you. If you become one of those above will rest on you. If you become a horse or donkey or bull or dog or sheep or some other animal, wild or tame, then neither human nor spirit nor word nor light can love you. Those above and those within cannot rest in you, and you have no part in them. Now wait a second. Why can't horses and donkeys be loved? What's up with that? Blessed is one who never grieves anyone? Wait a second. Blessed is one who has never grieved a soul. This is Jesus Christ. He came to the whole earth and never laid a burden upon anyone. Blessed is one like this, for this is a perfect human. The Word tells us how difficult it is to bring this about. How can we accomplish such a feat? How can we give help to everyone? To begin with, one must not cause grief to anyone, whether great or small, unbeliever or believer, and one must not give help to those who are well off. There are some who profit by helping the rich. The person who does good deeds will not help the rich, for the person will not take just anything that may be desirable. Nor can such a person cause them grief, since this person does not give them trouble. The new rich sometimes cause others grief, but the person who does good deeds does not do this. It is the wickedness of these people that causes their grief. The person with the nature of a perfect human gives joy to the good, but some people are deeply distressed by all this. So it seems to me when I read through some of these scriptures, whoever wrote them didn't like people with money. And I don't see what's wrong with money. I mean, I know people, I don't have much. I mean, I drive a 21-year-old Astrovan, minivan. But I've got friends that have a lot of money that you might call rich, and they're good people. So there's a lot of politics to this stuff too, guys. There's a lot of politics to this stuff, in my opinion. Ooh, here's an interesting one. Abraham's circumcision. When Abraham was able to see what he was to see, he circumcised the flesh of the foreskin, thus teaching us that it is necessary to destroy the flesh. Yeah, well, once again, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I don't really get that, but that started a long time ago, and I see that being more of a very traumatic experience. I mean, that's something that subconsciously, especially, if you have a baby, and then one of the first things the doctor or the nurse does is go circumcises him, that's got to be pretty intense, right? I mean, that's got to be also having some type of spiritual effect on you, cutting off a part of your body, literally. But some people say that, it's all for sanitary purposes. So, whatever. Ignorance is the mother of evil. Here's a good title anyway. Ignorance is the mother of evil. So not ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is the mother of evil. Ignorance is the mother of all evil. Ignorance leads to death, because those who come from ignorance neither were, nor are, nor will be. But those in the truth will be perfect when all truth is revealed. For truth is like ignorance. While hidden, truth rests in itself. But when revealed and recognized, truth is praised in that it is stronger than ignorance and error. It gives freedom. The word says, if you know the truth will make you free. Ignorance is a slave. Knowledge is freedom. If we know the truth, we shall find the fruit of truth within us. If we join with it, it will bring us fulfillment. Well, that's pretty cool. I would agree with that. Revelation of the seed, eternal light. Okay, this is the last paragraph in the gospel according to Philip, and then we'll close it out. Everyone who enters the bedchamber will kindle the light. This is like marriage that occur in secret and take place at night. The light of the fire shines during the night and then goes out. The mysteries of that marriage, however, are performed in the day and the light, and neither that day nor its light ever sets. If someone becomes an attendant of the bridal chamber, that person will receive the light. If one does not receive it while here in this place, one cannot receive it in the other place. Those who receive the light cannot be seen or grasped. Nothing can trouble such people, even while they are living in this world. And when they leave this world, they have already received truth through images, and the world has become the eternal realm. To these people, the eternal realm is fullness. This is the way it is. It is revealed to such a person alone, hidden not in darkness and night, but hidden in perfect day and holy light. The Gospel according to Philip. You should pick up a copy of the Nag Hammadi Scriptures, you guys. This one is edited by Marvin Meyer, and you can pick this up on Amazon. I'm sure they've got it even at many of the Barnes & Noble bookstores. So, what's your take on that specific gospel? Are you going to say, well, hey, man, it's no wonder they didn't put it in the Abrahamic Holy Bible or the King James Bible, or it's no wonder that it's been suppressed, or that makes absolutely no sense at all. That's complete hearsay. I would love your opinions, and I know you're going to give them to me. Make sure to subscribe to our website if you haven't already. I'm sure you're already a member at leakproject.com, or I'm sorry, youtube.com/clandestine time lord, but make sure to subscribe to leakproject.com. And also, if you become a premium member at Leak Project, you'll get access to exclusive content. Your contributions greatly help Leak Project. I just got back from a trip, went to Colorado and New Mexico, and it is expensive on the road. I mean, even when you're staying in cheap motels, it's expensive. So I want to bring you guys more exclusive content, on-scene video footage. Just takes money. And until then, I will be here in my beautiful studio in the garage, sharing as much intel as I can with you, pumping out as many podcasts as I can. If I wasn't doing it here, I'd be doing it somewhere else. So I thank all of you that have an opportunity to listen to this. Question everything. Hope to see you in X-Fest, South Dakota, May 19th through the 21st. Be there or be square. Have a beautiful day and be the change you want to see. Hey everybody, Rex Bear, how the heck are you? I'm doing fantastic here today in San Antonio. Yesterday, I did a podcast on the Eucharist in a discussion about the Last Supper and what it actually represents. And I've heard both sides of the coin from those that are Christian and believe it is a representation of continuing the Christ consciousness. And I've also talked to other people that feel that it is a black magic ritual. So I appreciate everybody that's contributed in the comment section to that podcast, and I'm still seeking answers. I'm so torn when it comes to what we are taught about religion, spirituality. Alexander on from Israel, because he speaks Hebrew. Maybe he could read these originally from Hebrew and then translate them for me as well. I want to see what he has to say about this. But let's get into it. Here we go. The Gospel of Philip. Now, the first one that I want to talk to you about in here, the first paragraph, is called God is a Man-Eater. Literally, it says God is a man-eater. God is a man-eater, and so humans are sacrificed to him. Tract from the Nag Hammadi treatise has a compilation of texts in it in different paragraphs that aren't really put together in order, but have bits and pieces of good information. So also some very controversial information, and that is probably why the Vatican and many other organizations and religions did their best to eliminate and suppress all of this information. Now, I look at this as very symbolic. You have to look at this symbolically, metaphorically, and hopefully your subconscious will be able to decipher this and usher it forth into the conscious mind. for example, the Secret Book of John. That is so far my favorite book out of the Nag Hammadi treatise because I think it explains symbolically so well the unknown, what we don't see, the archons, the creators, the false archetypes, etc. It's all very symbolic, and it resonates with me at a very deep level. I was actually going to read that first, but just like everything else, it seems like when I'm on a specific subject, particular information presents itself to me, and I'm going to share it with you guys. So let me go through. This is the most recent Nag Hammadi Scriptures translations. It's got a compilation of texts in here. I need to get based upon the Christian faith and the Abrahamic canon. I'm searching for the truth, and the more research I do, it seems as if on one side it becomes more apparent, and then on the other, it's just the opposite. It's more confusing, more muddled, etc. So with that said, I am reading the Nag Hammadi Scriptures again, and I'm reading the testimony, the Gospel of Philip. It's interesting because if you read through the New Testament Scriptures, you're going to read about the testimony of Mark, Luke, John, James, Peter. You don't hear anything about Philip. And this specific